Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Sour Libations and Conversations. It's your girl Dom, and I have my very special friend who is not new to the show back with us to discuss such an iconic season of the great White Lotus on HBO. Everybody, welcome back. Herb. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah. And now I can't hear you. Are you on mute? Herb has been giving us technical difficulties. We're
And now
starting,
I can hear you. I don't know what happened. Now I can hear you fine.
and now I can hear you fine. What you just
Look,
click? Okay.
I hit the mute and unmuted it real quick, but I couldn't hear you though. It don't make sense for me to hit mute and be able to hear you. All right.
Look, welcome back, Herb. Look at
Thank
you,
you.
causing chaos.
It looked like you was being so eloquent, and it was just
And he was like, I didn't hear none of that.
not
But
a
I,
thing.
I was. Had a nice intro. Whatever. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Listen.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited that you're here, and I think I'm more so excited to discuss the White Lotus with a straight black male, outside because I was shocked that you were watching it when we were talking about it in the DMs, and I was like, not that straight man. I just want to say this: don't watch the White Lotus, but I think it was more black men than I expected to be watching the White Lotus. So I mean, I was like, oh, I know y'all be watching Game of Thrones because so y'all like white mess, but it presents differently. So,
Not, but like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. My girl put me on White Lotus.
okay,
So
that's
this
good.
was not a, you know what I'm saying? So it's some give and take when you're in a relationship. She got to watch some basketball, some football. I got to watch. Look, I watch 90 Day Fiance now. I watch White Lotus now. So she put me in the game.
Listen, well, welcome, and we appreciate her for putting you up on game. This past Sunday, we witnessed the best 90-minute season finale that we've had, I think, across like a lot of different platforms in a long time because a lot of people, whether it had been Game of Thrones or you were watching something else, people have been expressing their frustrations on how like things end.
Yeah,
And White Lotus left us. I mean,
it was almost too good to be
it was,
honest.
hello?
Like it was like everybody got a good ending except for my man who his girl told him not to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
everybody else kind of got what they was looking for.
Yes. And, with that said, it's funny because I watched it with my family and also shot that like my play brother was watching. I was like, you
Mhm.
watch White Lotus, you
Well,
definitely,
you know what? Forget all of the gay and this show and that show. HBO puts out quality content.
they do.
Like that ain't like a, you know what I'm saying? You know how stars is kind of leaned into this,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? HBO don't do that. HBO make good shows. You can
Yeah.
watch White Lotus, you can watch Game of Thrones, you can watch The Wire, you know what I'm saying? They just put out good content. It isn't really like this is for this. Like no, they just put
Yeah.
out
But
good
I
content.
I mean more so in the sense of you know, see a lot of women
Yeah.
more into the White Lotus universe
Well,
as
see, I wouldn't, but me just being introduced to it, I didn't feel that that was a woman show. You know
okay.
what I'm
Okay.
saying?
I like
Like everybody had different storylines,
that.
women, men, gay, little girl, big girl. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of stuff. It was just life happening. You know, and they
Yeah.
just all met at the White Lotus. So
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll do it by groups.
yeah, that makes sense.
So, so I want to start off with the homegirls, like the circle.
Yeah, look, I was hoping we'd start with them. Yeah,
Yeah,
they was good.
they were good. So we're gonna start with Jacqueline, Kate, and Lori, and they're pretty interesting friendship where it's
Yeah.
kind of like they're frenemies almost because two could be in a room.
You know what it reminded me of was
Mean Girl.
no
Oh,
what's my girl? What's my black girl name? The best HBO black show. What's my girl
oh,
name?
Insecure.
Yeah, it was Insecure. It was your girl that worked too much. It was your girl that got the family, and it was Issa. Issa was, you know what I'm saying? Issa was the one I felt like Issa was the one who got the dude to come to the crib. You know what I'm saying? She the one that's just, living her best life, kind of doing what she want. You had your workaholic and Molly. You had your family girl and the light skinned one.
Okay.
And
Yes,
then the
Tiffany.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that
Okay.
was the friend group.
My sister compared it to Mean Girls, and when
Yeah.
you explain why who each character would have been, it made sense. And so it was like Lori would have been Gretchen Weems.
Yeah.
Michelle, I mean Jacqueline would have been uh like the ringleader, which was what was her name? I know her name in real life. That was in the Notebook.
Did look, you gonna mess me up.
And
Rebecca, nah, what's her name?
I can't think. I know.
Cause
Well,
she when she made up the thing at the end of the movie where she lied about like she was writing about herself. That thing.
yeah, and then Kate would have been could have been like what's the other chick with the big eyes? Amanda Seyfried. That's her name
Yeah,
in real life.
grabbing her titties for the wedding.
Yeah, and like her, it's because Kate was so not that she was prudish, but it was just like I'm
Yeah,
perfect. I can't do
but she
nothing.
kind of went with the flow. Like nothing.
She
You could
never,
call her prudish. It just seemed like everything. She was there for a good time. Not,
but not a
I'm
long
living
term.
my
She
best
can
life.
go to bed because I'm married and I have this family.
Exactly. She'll have a good time with y'all, but I'm straight.
I'm really not trying to get into any of y'all mess because
Hmm.
again, I am deeply rooted into my faith, my family, and Donald Trump.
That's what I'm
And
about to say. And MAGA lifestyle. You know what
yeah, her
I'm saying?
MAGA lifestyle, which everybody was shocked when they found out, kind of that she, voted for him. The funny, interesting part about all of this is the homegirl Lori, who has this iconic monologue, and she talks about, I know that we experience things, but I wouldn't want us to have it any other way. And it was just like, I'm accepting this for what this is because I know probably for me this won't get any better, and so for that I love y'all.
Yeah.
And it was so sad,
It was like
so
a
sad.
weird, sad happiness because you saw her being emotional about it, but kind of keeping it. She tried to keep it as gangsta as she could till the end. But that like her that's a life thing. That's why I said HBO puts together a good show. I'm a straight man with 3 kids, but I felt her. You know what I'm saying? Like I got where she was coming from, and she poured herself into this, looking for happiness, poured herself into that, and
Yeah.
being the older gentleman that I am, you got to fill your own cup first, and that's what she was missing. That's what she didn't say.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, no, and that is for sure. And she, was saying, and I think she reflected on something that was previously told to her, which was every situation that you in, you say that it is, like bad, you complain about it, but then you're the
Yeah,
common denominator. So what is it going to be? Which is a harsh reality sometimes that we do
yeah.
have to have with ourselves and sometimes our friends, and hopes that something will change. But I mean,
And the scary thing to me though, that we all kind of can kind of find a reference to in our life is everything that she poured herself into was positive things that were supposed to. Her marriage, her work, her children, these should be fulfilling, and she just wasn't being fulfilled, or things didn't fall the way that
she
she thought that they
expected
should
it.
have. So,
No,
like I said,
that's
she went into everything with the best of intentions.
yeah.
So,
And it just and maybe, it didn't pour back into her, so it wasn't
yeah.
reciprocated.
And that's
So
the thing. Like I said, you gotta. I'm a glass half full guy, but the glass gotta be half full. I can't be on the third trying to fill you up. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. No, that's real. I like that. I like that. And I mean, like you said, each and every episode was a lot of fun. And for some people they were bored, but I took something away from each episode, each character, because even in the funny part dealing with Lori is her getting her look back and going to sleep with
yeah.
Valentine after Jacqueline did that to her. Like, I didn't know you was really trying to, but girl, you married Jacqueline. Go, oh, you okay? We lost her. Uh, y'all, this has really been a struggle with us. This is so funny. We'll be right back.
all this is authentic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. And we're back. And I was talking about Valentine, like her situation, going to sleep with him. And you see so many little tidbits there that confirm what's happening. And her just him being a nigga and like, oh, my mom is sick. I'm trying to bring her here. I need $10,000. Can you cash at me?
Man,
And fortunately and luckily for her, his girlfriend comes back and she kind of saves the day because she's able to, kind of fly out the window.
look, I heard her kind of like, I ain't got that kind of money, bro.
Well, I got that kind of money, but it's not for you.
Not
I'm
for
not here
you.
to save
It
a
is.
hoe.
This is.
Like this
Look,
is
I am
not
not tricking
right.
on Caucasian men in Thailand.
Right. And then even when she runs through his closet, you notice that he had the jewels and stuff from the
Hmm.
and I'm
That's
like,
the one unfinished business for me. I
same.
want them white folks in jail.
I
And
want
my
him in
man like, ah. Look, I like that the girl was like, kind of quit being a bitch ass dude.
yeah.
Like, what you mean you don't do violence? What you mean you don't like? Nah, I'm straight. I'll let you know when we going on another date, Mister Boo.
Yes.
I'm
So
straight.
let's stay here. Let's talk about Mook and Gay Talk or God Talk.
Hmm.
And this is the security guy, that is the overseer somewhat of I almost called it the plantation of the White Lotus. And Mook is one of the workers there that he is,
Love her,
fond
love
of.
her down.
He loved her down. Okay, yes, he loves her down, and you see their relationship sort of building the entire season, and then where there's an opportunity, that presents itself for them to go out on a date, and I just feel like I believe that Mook is like smitten by him, but she's really not necessarily fully into
Yeah,
him, and I
she
think
was not.
yes, and I felt like she was more into what he could offer her, which is how when he tells her, "Hey, I think I'm gonna quit," like you said, she's like,
Yeah,
I can't see you tonight, and probably not
yeah.
tomorrow."
Look,
Yeah,
she told that man, "I thought you had more ambition." Like, come on,
yeah,
bro. Like, you got to take the cues. You know what I'm saying? Like,
especially kind of after after you share with me that I'm pretty confident that I know who broke into the hotel,
but you
and then
don't want to. You don't want to fight back. You don't want to tell the truth. What you? What?
what are we doing? So she's definitely the person that's like a social climber. And low key, I'll tell you this, that would have been a fun plot twist because I thought somehow she was gonna be in cahoots with
Yeah,
Valentin. I was like, something gonna be up with her and him, and she gonna tell him, and then something else is gonna happen.
yeah,
And so I wasn't necessarily expecting him to say something to Valentine, like, "Hey, those guys that you was with at the fight," and then the
hmm,
most terrible lie from Valentine's like, "Oh, we know each other from the gym. I don't really know their name, but no, but I saw y'all kicking it up at the fight.
look, cackling, having a good old time.
Gay old time, okay? Like this makes no sense." And I will say one of the things that my sister and I talked about was having the appreciation for his boss
Yeah,
who was like, "I think you're making a terrible mistake. You are
yeah.
valuable.
Chill out. We'll,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We'll reconvene.
yeah, and let's talk about it and see what's going on." And sometimes I think as human beings with life happening so fast, sometimes we need those moments of transparency.
Yeah.
We need to feel seen by people. So I thought that was dope that he was like, "No, you're not
Yeah.
quitting because of whatever."
Sometimes people know what's best for you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they
Not
do.
only do they have your best interest, but they kind of know what's going on.
That's real. I can respect that. I can respect that. But I will say I liked that storyline of more so God talked toward the end, but I was irritated the entire season. I'm like,
Yeah, he was.
"Ugh."
The whole thing was like it was a slow burn, but
Right.
every episode left you with such a cliffhanger, like you had to come back. So it wasn't
Yeah.
that slow of a burn, but the burn was in fact slow. So
Theirs was definitely slow. Not
yeah.
necessarily, some of the other couples or,
Hmm.
interactions that was happening, but definitely Mook and God talk. I was like, I'm over it. I'm so over it.
Look,
I'm like, because we all see that she's not into you like that.
He
And it's
was he
pretty
was legit like a nice guys finish last type guy. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it was very cringy, very cringy.
Yes. So I want to pick the pace a little bit, and I want to talk about Greg or
Hmm.
Gary, as depending on who you
Yeah,
talk to, and
Uncle
Belinda
Rico.
and Belinda. And for our
See
listeners,
now, before you even get into it, what
okay.
I thought that she was just making that up about the whole story about he's when he was a kid and the sex and all of that. Like that was crazy and super out of left field.
So okay, so yes, so that is Gary's girlfriend that does that. That is Chloe.
Yeah,
So Chloe, we gonna get there. We gonna get there.
that was
Chloe is his girlfriend, but he gets approached by a guest at the White Lotus. Well, and she's not really a guest. She works there. She works at the
mhm.
Hawaii location. Belinda, who is played by the great Natasha Rothwell from Insecure. And she's like, I know you, and I swear I know you. And she just couldn't put her finger on it. And then when she remembered, she was like, your name is Greg. I met you at, blah, 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 blah. And so he shook because
No, that's not me.
it is now Gary, which also I was like, so you really not gonna really try to change your name to like Nick
Look,
Paul,
Bernard,
something
Bernard.
else, but I'm just gonna tweak a few letters, like
Yeah.
um. And for those you who haven't seen season 1 or 2 of The White Lotus, these are now two characters that have been in the previous seasons. And Greg marries Tanya from season 1. They go to Italy in season 2, and Tanya ends up dead in season 2, and Greg inherits her family's fortune, which is like
It was like half a bill.
yeah, it's like $500 million. Um, and so pretty much because of his shiftiness, when Belinda is like, I know you, this was your name, blah, 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 he shook. But then she's also shook because she finds out on the internet that he was wanted in Italy for, and in questioning in regards to his wife's murder. And so she's now afraid,
Very afraid.
very afraid for her
And
life.
you know what? Her son was very not afraid. Very
I
not afraid.
I love that about him, and I love that. That is one of the characters. He plays in Bel Air, and I can't remember his name in Bel Air, but Belinda's son is this college educated, kid, like with his business degree or getting his business
Yeah.
degree, and pretty much Greg is now trying to buy Belinda off for $100,000.
Look,
Belinda,
that number.
I was like, how you lowball? And I mean, for me, I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna tell on you, but I'm also gonna negotiate this, which is what ultimately the son does,
Hmm.
because Greg just wants peace. Greg don't want no. I'm hiding. I'm ducked off. I don't want no drama. So what I gotta do to keep you, like I need you to shut the fuck
Hmm.
up, pretty much. So you want to take it?
Look, I love how the son came in. Like I did my homework. You know what I'm saying? I know what you got. 1%.
one
What's
percent,
1% for peace?
$5 million.
Look, 1% for peace.
Yes, that's it. And it's all he had to do. Like he knew he was lowballing her. Like
Yeah.
everybody knows, especially the business that she wanted to
But you
start.
know what though? That
Uh-huh.
little interaction that they had when they crossed paths, she was so shook. You got a low baller because she probably like so scared she'll take whatever. It was the
Yep.
son that was like, but I do love when she got up and was like, go back in there and close it. Like I love that. That was
Yes,
a curveball I didn't see
that was
because she
iconic.
had me thinking she was scared for real. She was like, nah, go get the money.
Yes, she's like, I'm like, so you gonna call the cops and not leave with nothing? I'm like, let's not forget Tanya did this. We wouldn't be here had Tanya just giving you the money outright the first
Yeah.
time, you know. So here we are, and I'm coming for what's mine, and this is my 40 acres and a mule. I want it, and let's get it.
Well, she
So
got 400 acres.
okay, a lot of people were kind of upset at how she ended up talking to the guy that, was also on the resort that she had.
Yeah, that was kind of.
So I had to remind my sister, this is the course of 10 days that they are in Thailand.
That's what I was thinking. They was acting like they had some whirlwind love affair.
Yes, it
I'm
had
here
been
for a good time, not a long time, bro.
exactly. I said it's 10 days. And I'm not saying that you can't fall in love at first sight. I have been a victim of it. I've had a nigga
Look,
take my breath away. But
$5 million takes my breath away. I'm
hello,
out. I'm gonna
I'm,
holler at you. I'm gonna
I'm
send you a postcard. You come visit your boy, but I'm
listen,
gone.
listen. And that's what I think, we don't know things what were cut from, like everything that was cut. And I know that I want to rewatch it and listen to the podcast along with it. Um, because in the last episode, in the podcast, it's shared that Belinda's son ends up having relations with the daughter, the Ratliff's daughter. So, but
Oh,
they cut it out. It honestly, it wouldn't make sense because we never see them cross paths. So it's like
yeah.
there would have to be some extra scene that happens that leads there, which I'm sure.
No, like
But
I said, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I was just, I
exactly
just came to get my mama. We up out of here.
10 days. So she but Belinda and Porn Chai, I was like, at most we can exchange contact information.
Yeah,
And
bro. What's your Instagram?
yeah, okay.
I'm gonna hit
I
you.
was thinking more, what's your WhatsApp, because that's how we can communicate. But also, let me bask in my newfound wealth, okay?
I'm not even saying I'm gone for good, but I gotta go take care of something.
Yeah, I gotta go. I
I
gotta
know
go.
where you work. I know where you live. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be back.
Exactly. So I would say I was really excited and happy that was Belinda and her son's ending, because we never really get to see that for us all the time. It's like
That's what
always
I was saying. That was part of it being so good is that it was a little too good. It's like the girls are friends before they leave, and the black woman gets her 40 acres and a mule, and like everything is going so good that nobody, you know what I'm saying, that the kid thing happens. Everything works out except for the one person that was like, "Fuck this shit," and start.
we saving that we gonna say that almost for last, because you hit me. So since we're talking about Greg, let's talk about Greg and Chloe, where you were sharing,
Mhm.
her
Yeah, that
sharing
was crazy.
information, a lot of his trauma growing up, which
Crazy request.
crazy. Yeah. So, um,
Yeah,
one
look, that's a lot to put into words.
a lot to put in words. But also, I'm like, damn, how do I want to start this? So, there's a family the rat lives, and one of the kids is a Schwarzenegger, and he is really about fucking. I'm getting fucked. I'm getting money, and I'm getting fucked, and that's it. Like that's what it is. And they meet two women, at the pool, which will be Chloe and what is I have their names right here. Uh
The British girl with them
yeah,
teeth.
Chelsea with the teeth. Chelsea's really good. Sidebar. Y'all want something fun and easy to watch, please watch Sex Education on Netflix. And so they meet them at the pool, and he's just this guy that, like I said, he's, what do we call those, like kind of, not that he's a surfer dude, but I mean he is like about his
Look,
money, it's about women. And there's an
he
interaction
seems
that,
like somebody I went to high school with. You know what I'm saying?
yes, I
Sperry
was
wearing,
yeah,
Abercrombie, American Eagle. Like I can
yeah, my
like
family
see
has
him.
money, I'm
Yeah,
untouchable, which we'll get to that in a
yeah.
few minutes. And so there's a portion where, and Chloe's younger, she's like, apparently met Greg in Dubai, and that is
My
kind of
man, my man
like
says she's a prostitute.
she's
Like, what are you talking about?
exactly. And so Greg is looking for this good time, and then it just kind of gets disrupted. He's always accusing her of cheating and whatnot. And so there's this full moon party where a lot of things happen.
Things happened.
Things happen, With Chloe, we really don't get to know Chloe how we get to know a lot of the other characters.
Yeah.
So, but Greg, like we learned that Greg is a freak. Greg is freaky.
But
Based
not, it's crazy, but not that freaky. It's crazy. That is crazy. That's a different type of freak.
That's a different type of freaky.
He's a what is it? A voyeur? What some people call it?
Yes. Greg is definitely a warrior, based on it's
Childhood trauma.
childhood trauma, and I encourage everybody here to get healed, to be healed, because there's
Look,
no way, and we're trying not to say spoilers for everything. Everybody, y'all just need to go watch it. Y'all just need to go watch White Lotus. Like, I'm not telling y'all to start at season one, though. Season one is very fun. Season one is only 6 episodes,
look, I
but
had to catch up, but I didn't miss anything because I didn't watch the other seasons. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like I was catching up as it was going, and
yeah,
I didn't need to watch any of it. Besides, I knew that old girl was from a previous season, but I didn't
yeah,
need it
and,
to.
yep. And Greg
Yeah.
has been in all three, so I'll be interested to see what happens season four. But Saxon, Saxon is the guy that is from the Ratliff family. He's the older brother. I mean, we're here, so let's just talk about him. You get Saxon, you get Lockie, and then you get the daughter who is Piper, which is how they end up in Thailand because she
Mhm.
says she's doing her thesis about Buddhism, or as the mother, the great Parker Posey, Victoria says Buddhism. Piper,
She
no.
was great. Look, they really they felt authentic. That
They
whole family, like they
they
felt like they cast them perfectly.
perfectly, right? And then you have Tim Ratliff, who is the head honcho, who is the boss. They have all this money and wealth because of him. And immediately out the gate, they're there the first day, and he gets a call that they
Yeah,
they've been
shit is
invested
hitting the fan.
already. So he has this internal battle with himself the entire pretty much
Now
season.
that's now you know how we was making light of the 10 days for their
Uh-huh.
relationship. That was probably the longest 10 days of his life.
That was the longest 10 days of his life.
Like
He done
my
stole
boy is
Victoria's
stressed.
lorazepam. Um, he's drinking with the lorazepam, which y'all not supposed to do. I've taken lorazepam.
Look,
Like
he
I
was going through it.
was going through it because also he's realizing how vain. I think he's literally finally
Yeah,
able to see his family in the human sense and how selfish they are.
yeah,
Uh, and how and I'm not even gonna say we get that a lot from the mom. You understand that later down the line with the daughter because she ends up lying about why they're there, and after she stays the night in the temple, she's like, I ain't doing this shit. I'm fucking
yeah,
spoiled. They said they food organic, but it really isn't organic. It didn't taste the same as, I'm like, girl, because in America it's still pesticides
yeah,
in it. You know, but the sons have been the interesting
yeah. They've
part.
been main characters. Everything else kind of been side.
Yeah,
That's the focus of the family there.
let's talk about Saxon and Lockie, and you find out that Lockie is likely also a virgin, just like the sister
Yeah,
Piper, and Saxon is really pushing sex on him. Let's get you laid. You need to do this stuff. You need a man up. We gotta bulk you up. But also, you see Saxon kind of interact with him in this weird way. He's like always kind of naked. You see Lockie looking at his butt cheeks. I'm gonna watch porn in front of you. Fucking, I'm gonna go to the. So it's really, we don't know what is that? What's
you know
happening?
what? You know what's funny about it? I'm the only boy, so I don't know if that's. I don't think that that's normal. I don't know that it isn't normal. You feel
I
me?
don't think that's normal,
I've
friend. I
never been
don't
a
think
big
it's
brother
normal.
to a little brother. You know what I'm saying? I got cousins, I got best friends, and we didn't do none of that.
Yeah, we
You know
didn't.
what I'm saying?
I I grew up with all women. I have so many male friends, so many male cousins, sleepovers. I've never seen any of them interact like that, at least not in front of us. And I know
Look,
I've seen my homeboys joke. I think men in general, like there's certain jokes that y'all will have with each other, but I think y'all know where not to cross the line.
yeah, it's always a line.
There's a line, and that was like I was the entire season. I was praying, oh my God, please let somebody be adopted. Please let somebody be adopted, because that would be the only thing that would make sense. And so I want to take you guys to the Moon
Yeah,
Festival, and Lockie, Saxon are on a boat with Chloe and oh girl, um,
Chelsea.
Chelsea. How forget Chelsea that fast? Oh, so they're kicking it. They decide to do drugs, mind you. Interestingly enough, Saxon was like, "I don't do drugs. Like I'm not doing that." And he was very no, and everybody's like, "Oh, peer pressure." Because the fact that Lockie is like, "I already took mine. I took mine. See." And he takes it, and everything hits the fan. I mean, they're kicking it. They have a good time. They on the yacht, and they're everybody's really feeling comfortable, really loose. The first red flag is they were Saxon and Lockie were dared to kiss by Chloe. Chelsea face was me like I could not believe it. And so it wasn't like they made out, but it was like,
It was sensual.
yeah, it was. But also you can, which we ultimately end up singing. A threesome happened. Chelsea is not involved, and it is Chloe, Saxon, and Lockie. And it's more so Lockie because he's alert enough, and Saxon is kind of out of it. And then they come back, and we really see what happens. And it's like, what is going on? You thought it was okay for you to stimulate your brother? What?
Like I said, I don't got no brothers, so I just know
How was I doing that?
I can't imagine that being okay.
Yeah, I and poor and we kind of see we have a moment where because you kind of feel like not that necessarily that Saxon was the villain, but you definitely hated him throughout these episodes, and then you're
Look,
like,
it made him kind of shrink up. He was this big personality, and then it was like, I'm just reading my book. Like
yeah,
he
I'm afraid of my brother. What you doing? You don't need to be
look,
here. No, you can't come with me. And you feel for him. You're like, okay,
but you know what's ridiculously unridiculous is the little brother's rationale. Like he was like, I'm in a family full of narcissists. I'm a people pleaser. My sister want to do this. I'm gonna stay a year with my sister to please her. My brother want me to have sex so bad. We gonna have a threesome with this girl. I'm gonna make sure that you involved. Like that was his rationale. I can't get down with that, but the logic is there.
seriously. So I could not, I could not, I could not receive that. I could not receive it.
I understood it because I don't. They didn't really give their ages. I don't recall, but you
Yeah,
can tell he's the baby boy.
yeah, he's the baby.
So
Yeah,
he, like I said, he don't want the middle child, his big sister, his only sister, to be out there alone.
yeah,
Big bro, take your protein shakes and have sex and drink. I'm gonna do all of that with him. Daddy want me to go into business. I'm bet you I'm gonna be the best little businessman Daddy want me to be.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that. That just was the dynamic he was in because he's not the only boy. He's not the only girl. He's not the oldest. He just the extra one. So that's where you know what I'm saying. That's where like he said, I'm a people pleaser in a family full of narcissists.
I'm
The
sorry.
sister.
Listen, I can receive that. I can't respect that. But
I said I
because
can't get down with it,
yeah, I was
but
like,
I
but there's nothing in
understood
that still says jack your brother off.
nothing, nothing. But again, that boy was like, "I'm gonna tell mom and dad I'm gonna stay with you." Like what?
Which yeah, I think unfortunately, one of the reoccurring themes in that family is uh none of them know, like their
Identity.
identity.
They're trying to find
Yeah,
it.
yeah, they're all looking for themselves in different weird ways.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least Piper somewhat figures out her role in life. Like, absolutely, I'm the
She just
spoiled.
figured out a little bit more who she was because she's just as big a narcissist because putting together that type of lie to fly your family across the world, it's a little crazy.
That is crazy as hell.
Very
But then
self-serving.
look at her mama. She's drugged up on
Drunk
pills
all the time.
all the
Like,
time. And imagine having to deal with a mama like Victoria every day. And then your dad is so hard working, trying to make sure y'all have nice things, where it leads him down a rat path of destruction because all this shit is about to be gone. And also, I want to talk about the dad. You know, at one point you're gonna kill yourself. Then there's another point where you're like, I'm gonna kill the wife, the mama. You kill
everybody goes.
everybody goes, and then ultimately you rest on giving your family except Lockie, because Lockie is like, I can be poor,
Yeah,
but you're gonna leave him to have to and deal with that
yeah.
trauma. Had all of y'all died when you put those poisonous seeds in y'all pina coladas. I thought that was so fucked up.
It was, the, I've always viewed suicide as a very selfish action, but how selfish can you be to say, I'm gonna take everybody out? Fuck, I'm gonna make a decision for
I'm gonna
them.
take everybody out
You
except
need AC? Cool. You need money? Cool. We all going to hell.
we
Like
all
we
go.
all going together. This is crazy.
And then, speaking of the seeds, which leads to Lockie, and I was like, he ain't gonna. I was like, somebody is either it was either gonna be Saxon or Lockie that was gonna wake up the next day and use that
Hmm.
blender without
You
cleaning
know
it.
it.
It was Lockie, and we knew it because we we blood
Come on, man.
doing that.
Watch that shit out. Why
Wash it out, and you smell
and
it,
it been
kinda,
it's
and you
been
kind
it's
of took
been out there all night.
all night, and you kind of took a whiff, like, okay, that's weird, but let me just put everything else in there, and it'll kill it. And then he ultimately dies for about a good 10-15 minutes.
For 15 minutes, he was gone. The upper
Daddy
room.
died. The daddy finds him, and I thought because of how long the daddy was in that room, I thought he
Yeah,
was
it
gonna
was
be
a
dead.
wrap.
I thought
Yeah,
he was gonna be dead, and then Lockie was gonna be dead.
because
But
the
then
mama was like, "I'm gonna let him sleep in." Yeah,
I'm
he
gonna
ain't
let him
sleep.
sleep in for sure. Yeah. And ultimately, the dad, Daniel, he finds Lockie and is like crying to the heavens, and it's like you see kind of Lockie be reborn again. He sees the monks, as he's in this water coming up, and it's like the light at the tunnel is the monks and all of this stuff, and then ultimately he is alive. And it was probably that love that he probably never felt seen in his family. I don't know, like how the daddy even was interacting with him about, he can't drink, you can't have this, you can't do it, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So in that moment, he finally felt and received that love that he always wanted, which I'm guessing brought him back to life. But
Look, he got more dicks to Jack. We're
listen,
sending you back.
poor Saxon, and I feel bad for Saxon too, because he really ended up liking Chelsea,
Yeah,
and Chelsea was not messing with him at all because she is in love with Rick. Rick is
very
her
much so.
world, baby. Saving the best for last. Rick is her world. Sidebar before we get into them, I'm kind of pissed that they get on that boat to leave the island, the rat lives, and nobody say nothing about, yeah, Lockie died for like 15 minutes.
Oh man,
Like, wait a second, what? So we just not gonna acknowledge it? And the fact,
look,
the fact of the matter is, it's like up until he said things are about to change when we get back to land when they got their phones back. I just knew this nigga was jumping overboard. He was jumping overboard because he kept looking at that water, and then they brought them phones out. I was like, oh dear shit, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Which I also still would have thought would have been iconic. But when he told them that, he was vague, and then Saxon turns his phone and looks up. Because all Saxon wants to do is fix it.
Yeah. But look, he said it. He was like, if shit goes south, I'm literally baby you. So I'm not gonna be able to do nothing without you. So it's
a lot of different pressures that was there, which that's another thing to explore too. When you are the breadwinner, how all of that falls back on you, and that's all we see you as. And that was one of the. That's why he was like, "Oh, y'all can die."
And you know what the thing is, Daddy did his job. All them kids is in college, you know what I'm saying, and graduate high school, whatever the case may be. I'm kind of finished, but y'all used to a certain status, and that shit's out the window. I might be going to jail. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh man, Rick and Chelsea. Rick is played by the great Walter Goggins. And y'all keep trying to make Walter the sex symbol, and I'm just not fucking with it until he cut his hair. Y'all saying, see, the hairlines are gonna be a thing. Y'all gonna have men looking crazy out here. Don't do it. Don't do it.
But you know what? As an older gentleman, if he's comfortable with his,
I want him to be comfortable.
I like people that's confident and standing in their shit. You know what I'm saying? So look, I know somebody that like it.
I know what doesn't turn me on, and I know what turns me off.
Yeah, he might not be looking for some St. Louis cuties. He ain't really into that.
He into
he
it.
In them British tea.
Listen. Rick is a complex character that we meet in episode 1, who has a lot of childhood trauma, like Greg old ass, that he needs to work through and that he's never acknowledged. And early on, we learn that he has had this tumultuous, terrible life. Has been looking for the father, the person that killed his father. He found him. He is the owner of the White Lotus, and he here to turn up. Whereas Chelsea is the balance to the the yin and the yang, and she's like, you need to relax. You need to do this. You need to do that. She's trying to keep him grounded, trying to keep him focused. And he's so in his head. And I feel bad because it's his inner child crying out for help that has controlled him.
And tell me if I missed something.
Okay.
For your life to have been so bad, it seemed like you're pretty well off. You got your homeboy that live over there. You got your girl. You got the money to get from wherever you live to damn Thailand. Life ain't that bad. Like I get vengeance, and I'm okay with that. But your life ain't that bad, brother. It didn't seem like it. Like I said, maybe I missed some part of the story that told us how life was so hard for him.
Yeah, well, so that's funny you say that, because we talk about money doesn't equal happiness.
That's true.
That's true. That amount of money, regardless of what he was making and bringing in, and you got a beautiful girl on your arm, though we, crack jokes about her teeth. Chelsea is a cute girl. Amy Lou Wood is very cute, and quirky. And so she's like ride or die. And she is about getting him. That's her person. And that's what she tells, that's what she tells Saxon. Yeah. Like, this is my person. This is who I'm supposed to be with. And like I said, you feel bad because you see a shift in Saxon's character, but this girl is ride or die for Rick. And at one point, Rick concocts his story to confront the man that killed his father. And he brings his homeboy, who is this newfound, he's into his Buddhist realm too, where he's peaceful. There might be an Asian woman inside of me that wants to peg men and do all these different things, but I'm sober, and whatever you need, friend, I got you.
That's what I'm saying. Like his life ain't that bad.
His life ain't
Like
that
you know what I'm
bad.
saying?
It's not like
It
the
ain't that
homeboy,
bad.
but we also learned that the homeboy, his best friend, who is sober and doing all or used to do all these crazy things, he can't come back to the states.
Yeah.
So
Look,
you had a crazy
they some
life.
wild boys.
They were. So Rick does get the opportunity to confront the man, the myth, the legend. There, his mother told him, "This is the man that killed your father." Rick grew up. His father was killed when he was a child. Well, not even child, before he was born, and so he never got the opportunity to meet his dad or have a relationship with him. And you posted something, which is how I found out that you were watching the White Lotus, and you said what?
I just knew that was his daddy. Like that was I, aging myself. You saying the water boy?
Oh, it's been a long time, but yes.
That's all. His mama just lied about whatever didn't fit her narrative. His daddy died in the desert from no water. His daddy went to Thailand and got killed by some man. No, he didn't come home to your ass. That's all. He ain't dead.
Yeah.
He ain't nobody kill him. He ain't want to be with you. That's why I loved that. What he said, I didn't know she was a lion whore. Like I knew she was a drunk whore, but I didn't know she was a lion drunk whore.
Listen,
That's a
listen.
great line.
And it was funny, the whole interaction, because when they're in this room, when he initially says, like, he says the mother's name, and then it comes back to the man in the room. He's like, "You said, oh, what did he what was his daddy's name? The mama's name. It was like Deborah or something.
Yeah,
But it was how he said her name that I was like, fuck, that's his daddy. That's his fucking daddy." But the asshole part, Rick Rick wants to kill this nigga, y'all. He wants to shoot Srilata's daddy. I mean husband, because that was her name. That was the wife, Srilata.
that was great too. That whole lead up to all of this foolishness he didn't concocted to get in this room,
Just to get in this
and he
room.
just. Hey, my
He
favorite
can't
part is
do
when
it.
he
He
jumped
can't
at him.
punch him.
Yeah, when he jumped at him, that shit was so funny.
But then he's just he just pushes him over in the chair
Yeah,
and they leave. He leaves out and like, "Hey, we gotta go." Hey, he fell out the chair, so somebody need to go and get him. And then they just go party the night away. And I'm gonna say Rick's homeboy probably partied more than Rick, because Rick is just like, I confronted him, I said what I needed to say, I'm at peace about this, so whatever will be will be. Well,
maybe not.
it's not, because everybody comes back to the White Lotus, and now there's the confrontation,
But
and
he had to know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no way that you go back to the hotel that this man owned and you just like, yeah, I'm gonna just go have breakfast. No,
I'm
no,
I am just like, Jim Hollinger is his name. Jim is Rick's father.
yeah,
Well, we knew that. We knew that. And it gets confirmed, but they have a confrontation prior to the huge blow up. And Jim is like, I got that thing on me. I got that gun on me. Try me down. I'm gonna shoot you.
he opened that thing up like, what's up, man? What you trying to
Yeah,
do?
I'm sending my goons after you, which he did. And Chelsea is still telling Rick, cool it down, bring it down. You don't need that. You don't need that a part of your life, because we gonna be together. You said we're gonna be together, we're gonna be happy. And in this weird twist, Rick Rick is trying to talk to, like, I wouldn't call her a therapist, but she's kind of like the
Yeah, the
on
Indian lady.
yeah, and she's like, you gotta wait, give me an hour, we can talk.
That was my favorite part too. When them gunshots got to going, she left the sun. She was like, I'm getting the fuck up out of here.
I'm getting out of here. And Rick runs up on Jim when they're taking a picture of the Mean Girls,
Yeah.
because one is an actress, and he said, what did he say to him? He said something to him and just kills Jim. So, which leads to the shootout between him and the bodyguards.
Look, and he smoked them. It was goddamn Mr. Peace, Mr.
Yeah,
Buddhist.
and she's like, so Sri Lotta is holding Jim, and it's like, why? He was like, because he killed my father. She's like, he is your father. He's your father. Oh. So now we got this shootout happening. His aim so sharp. This is how you know Rick was in like some sort of secret service or whatever, or he was a hitman, because his aim is crazy to the point where he kills both bodyguards, but Chelsea get caught in that crossfire,
Yeah.
and I knew that was
Look,
going.
that's a rough day at the office, bro. Your
Yeah, she got.
girl, you didn't kill your daddy. Your girl done got clipped because you killed your daddy. And then you get clipped walking off like a sucker by
Yep,
Mr. Buddhist.
yep. Gata comes in and is instructed because by a yelling Sri Lotta to
Yeah.
kill him, to kill Rick. And at he was perplexed, like
He walking
I
away.
need
I'm
to be
shooting him in
killing
his
these
back.
Russians. I need to be
Yeah.
killing these Russians. But okay, when Rick gets killed, they fall in the water because he's carrying Chelsea, and that's pretty much how it ends. Gatas gets promoted because that was a thing that was a huge thing for him, and him and Mook they
Look,
go out
doing his thing.
again. And we don't really see homegirl too much. Chloe in this episode, she's kind of like a partner, but she's scouting.
Yeah.
It closes with her, trying to recruit a guy to hook up with her and Greg, or more so hook up with her so he can watch it. And you just like, yeah, you really messed up in the head, man. But you still got all of this money, though you just gave somebody five mil, like it was nothing. And I would have moved that account so fast. I would have shut that account. Said, "Hey, I need to make
Look,
it." I was like, "Can you transfer this? Can we create a new account right now? I'm coming home."
I'm
So
finna send it to my cash app
yeah,
right now.
but just such a great season, and we skipped over like other small details, but this season finale was
Yeah.
definitely one for the books.
It was very good. Like very it's not many holes you can poke at that season finale at all.
Because even hearing that Belinda's son and Piper were supposed to hook up, I was like, why? Why would
Yeah.
that have needed to even happen? And it was more so this thing around the pressure she felt to no longer, I'm this college kid. I'm about to probably graduate. I'm working on my thesis, which wasn't
Hmm.
true, but and I'm still a virgin. And it's like that we all would have been so irritated by that, honestly.
Yeah.
But
It was unnecessary. It's
it was
like I
unnecessary.
said, it didn't put a button on anything that interaction.
It
So
didn't. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the next season. Everybody could have for real. They can spin off a whole nother show because
look, I want to know what Daddy goes home to. Like that's what I want to know. Like
that's what I want to
that's
know. Somebody they said that Schitt's Creek is literally what would happen. So they'll end up in some motel that they have purchased. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would love to see even more Belinda or whatever, and Greg. Like, what's Greg's next thing that he needs to conquer? Uh, but yeah, it was so good. They don't have to have the homegirls in there, but they can have everybody else.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's us dissecting the White Lotus season 3. Episode 8 for you guys, the season finale. Her tell everybody where they can find you.
I'm everywhere, man. I'm your favorite baby daddy. Your favorite baby daddy's favorite baby daddy. That's me. Nah,
Period.
I'm on all my socials is Pilot Talk 314. It is not Pillow Talk. I know a lot of people are dyslexic. A lot of people they get to read it what they want to. It's Pilot Talk 314.
You know,
Instagram.
You
Twitter,
know,
all of
I
that.
know you're gonna go see Sinners, so I'm gonna have you back
Oh
sooner.
yeah, I can't wait. Like I'm
I can't.
very excited to see that.
Everybody keeps going to some weird like low-key screener out here, and it's pissing me off. And
Yeah.
low-key, my cousin is in Sinners. So
Oh, but
big tall guy, Omar Benson Miller, he's in 8 Mile.
text
He's
me.
in
Oh, yeah, that's your
yeah,
cousin.
yeah,
The
yeah.
with the silly ass rap from 8 Mile, right?
Hmm.
And he was
Hmm.
in what's the movie with the statue head?
From
Damn. It's a Spike Lee movie about World War II and this black
oh
platoon.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one that no,
Miracle as Santa something.
yeah, yeah,
That, but
yeah,
that's your cousin. We talking
yeah,
about the same guy. Yeah,
yeah,
I never knew that. That's what's up.
yeah. I met him once out here.
Okay.
Actually, when I first moved, we went to I was Jill Scott was having like a album release party, and I walked up on him and I was like, "Hello, cousin," and then he looked at me like, "Bitch, I don't know you," and then he looked closer and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you a Cozart," and I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, that's my cousin.
That's
But
what's up.
yeah, so
He been around for a while.
you've been around for a
Like,
long time, yeah.
yeah.
So shout out to you, Omar. But I want to definitely connect and talk about that because I
Yeah,
am so
we definitely and this baby hating on me, but I'm usually a Thursday night go see the opening of the movie.
okay.
I'm gonna try to sneak in and do that. But
Okay.
yeah.
Well, hopefully you are able to do that and we can talk about that really soon. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for giving me a moment of your time to talk about the White Lotus, and I will see you next time.
Look, I'm gonna come through with the movie lighting like you next time. I'm gonna get
Oh,
my stuff together.
okay. Okay. Bye.
All right.